So for now, I'm going to pull this Hive-Alive fondant off.
Fondant was installed 15 November. Hive-Alive fondant will be saved for next winter or fed back to the bees mixed with 1-to-1. I put black electrical tape on the seam mid-November to prevent airflow into the hive.
So let's see what we got. So first off, first look is it looks pretty good. Kind of looking for the queen, make sure she's not up here.
How many frames of bees would you say?
So, yeah, I mean 9, 10 frames. It looks really, really good. This queen is actually one of the 2023 queens that we have. So if I see her, I'm going to make sure she's got a good mark on her.
Wanted to see if the queen could survive a second winter for breeding purposes this year.
So they do. They look good. They look calm. Still have my broodminder sensor in here that I don't necessarily like the company anymore, but I own them, so I'm going to use them. So, okay, we're going to come over here on this side. So we're doing an inspection to determine how much food they have remaining. If we have a concern about the bees starving, and we can determine what we want to do. So there's a hive beetle right here. So we never really had hive beetles in the winter until this year. So that's a nice frame. There's good honey there. So that looks really good. Very, very good. So let's see what else we got here. So we're going to put some hive beetle traps. Look at the honey. So this is a single brood box, insulated hive, condensing. And this says right here that we can easily do a single brood box. And the bees should not starve as long as you give them enough food going into winter, which looks pretty good. Holy, there's a lot. Now there's a lot of wet here because we're doing that open feed. So that to me looks like all wet nectar. If I shook it, we would be able to see it drip out, but I'm pretty sure that is wet nectar. There's a lot of food here. That is not what we're feeding now. That's last year. So they're not eating a lot. And that's because they live in an insulated house, which is what you and I live in, is an insulated house. Okay, now we're getting on the sides here. We should be able to see some brood, maybe a queen here. So honestly, this hive does not, we don't need to worry about this hive on an open feed. If all the hives look like this, the only reason to open feed for us is to try to manage the bees to keep them in a local area, so not to be flying everywhere and interfere with the community too much. They're really nice bees.
We ran 10 single deep insulated hives this winter with 100% survival. 2 hives were very short on honey stores, which is why you check. The other 8 videos to follow.
Okay, there's some brood here. So the queen could be on this frame. Little bit of brood.
If you're interested in running insulated hives, I'll attach an instructional video on how you can do it yourself. It used to be $20. I'm not sure how much now.
So that looks really good. So that's good. Man, a lot of bees. Now the hive is very stuck together with all this cold propolis. It's not the best light for looking for the queen. More brood. Oh, eggs, there's eggs. This whole area right here is eggs. Let me make sure there's no queen on the back before I go upside down. Yeah, there's eggs all in this frame. Right in the middle where my thumb is. The whole area is eggs. So it's interesting that she's laying at the top of the frames because the top of the hive is warmer. It is a screen bottom board, and we run a very small entrance. So let's smoke these guys a little bit so I don't kill them.
I see her on the other side, honey.
There she is. So there's a queen. She looks nice and fat. She's long, a little brown. More brood on this one. She's marked well. She looks really good. This is a 2023 queen. I believe it's July 2023 queen. So we're done. So we know that we have brood. We knew we had a queen because we had brood, but kind of wanted to get an understanding of how much brood was in the hive. And I see honey on that other frame over there. So this looks really good. So we're using these little beetle traps.
There's a pollen patty in the middle with vegetable oil or olive oil on the sides, and you must change the bait when it gets rancid.
And you got to be careful when you take them out that you don't dump the vegetable oil. But this hive looks outstanding. So now we're going to do the Super DFM. So this is a probiotic. So we try and do everything we can to keep our bees alive and healthy. I mean, this is, $200 worth of bees if we had to buy bees in the spring. So these bees are worth making the effort, spend a little bit of money to keep them alive, which is what we're doing. And you can see it's working. We did do some Super DFM last fall too. Yeah, just sprinkle on top.
Bob Benny is a commercial beekeeper that puts a lot of great content up. And after watching this video, I started using Super DFM.
No, on the bees, not on the frames. So you sprinkle it on the bees. That's good. And they will clean it off.
Single OA treatments on 15 November and 10 February.
So all this here is where when they're eating the honey, these are the uncappings. It's not a big deal. Sometimes they start bringing pollen back. You'll see pollen there. This is just moisture. And you know what? Moisture doesn't kill your bees. Okay, moisture's not bad. Bees need moisture to survive. It's down on the bottom board. You saw the inside of the frames. It all looked clean. These are mites right here. So interesting is not really seeing a lot of mites back here, but I'm seeing mites up on the front. And it's probably where the bees were hanging because it is a little bit warmer to the front of the hive. All right, let's see what we got. So right off the bat, there's not as many bees.
How many frames would you say?
I'm looking for the queen. Let's see here. Pretty thick, nice here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 4. It gets really thin over there, maybe 5. So the entrance is here, and you notice that's where the bees are. I'm guessing that this one probably didn't have a lot of honey in it to start with. It's pretty clean. Looks like a pretty fresh comb. So we'll see. This is more what I was expecting to see. Hold on. There's fresh. I'm gonna knock this. Let's see. You see all that wet there? Let's see if it comes out. See all that? That tells me this is not last year's nectar. There's no way it sit in the hive all last year. That is the sugar water that we're feeding, and they're putting it in storage, which it's pretty lean. It's going to be a long time before they can turn that to honey. We really want to stimulate and keep them busy. But anyway, just something interesting. That's how you can check right off the bat. Putting some here. That's all honey from last year. This is really the first year that we did all of our deep hives as single brood boxes. The year before last, we did I think it was 3 to test it, which is what you want to do. You want to test some, not all, and it worked. So this year we did them all, and really happy. I don't think this was full of honey to start. It doesn't look like, does it, Mike? But there's quite a bit of honey remaining now. They were probably living in the middle of the hive, and this frame is pretty empty. So what we could do right now is we can shuffle these frames around to make sure that the food is toward the middle in case we get some more cold days. Yeah. Now this is empty. This frame is empty, empty, empty. So this is why you need to check your bees in the spring and determine if you need to feed them. Because this hive here looks a little on the lean right here. Green dot queen right here. There she is. So might be some brood here. I'm going to turn this upside down and kind of look. So she's right there. So we're going to do some, what we're going to do actually, this is pretty empty. We have frames from last year that we had in the freezer, and we're going to add frames of honey to this hive. This hive does not have enough food. So I don't mind feeding them out there, but we got all this food in the freezer, and we're going to feed them back. These have been out of the freezer for 5 days. So it's room temperature. It's about 60 degrees. It's a full sheet. There's a little bit of pollen here in the middle. Bee bread, actually. It looks like bee bread. I'm going to face that toward the bees. She had, there's funny, they're putting nectar over here. I want to give her own honey back for one. That's what they're bringing in. That's their honey. So we're going to come in here. We'll stick this one here. This is their honey. It's their frame. It's a brood frame. It's food. They got room to lay on here.
These bees seem very nice too. Are you guys getting hit at all, or are they just hanging in?
No, they're not interested in us at all. Let me just see what we got. I think this was empty here too. Sorry, they had a box over here. I'm going to add them this frame here. Okay. So there we go. We added them 3 frames of honey. So now we do not have to worry about this hive starving at all.